Hi guys, how are you doing? Hopefully everyone's doing great. I'm starting a little bit earlier because I just want to make sure things are working fine before we jump into our live stream. There's gonna be a little bit of a delay, so I think we're like 30 seconds behind. Because I'm speaking right now and I'm watching the stream, but I'm not seeing myself speaking yet. So that means that there we go. So yeah, just let me know in the little chat right here if you guys can hear me properly. Hopefully the music's not too loud. Let me know if that one's is nice as well. Hey Chandra, hey Vishal, nice to see you guys. How are you guys doing? Aaron, hello. Good morning. It's still night over here. Good night over here. But it's nice to see you guys. Cool. Yeah, so I need to have this on a separate window to see the chat. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to interact with you guys. Wow, can you guys believe it? It's been a year. Well, not a year, right? But it's been 5 months, and it's the end of the year for us right now. We're almost at the end of this. Hey, Sarath, how are you, man? Hi, welcome to the stream. Cool. So, since you guys are here early, or I'm here early, you guys are gonna tell me what should we work on. Should we do like a little bit of ZBrush? Should we try and explore a little bit of the magics of Blender? Should we do... I'm doing a little bit of an Unreal project right now. I'm working on it. So if you guys want to see a couple of the things that we've been doing here in the studio, we can do that one as well. We can do Maya. If you have any questions about Arnold. How was Christmas? Christmas was good, my friend. I went... so I live in a city that's close to a big city here in Mexico. I guess I can tell you guys, right? Like, you're not gonna come and kidnap me. So, let me show you. I mentioned this was gonna be like an Ask Me Anything, so let's do that. Let me just double check that my microphone is working. Yeah, it seems to be working. Okay. So Mexico, it's it's a relatively big country, right? So the northern part of Mexico, it's very industrial. There's a lot of like factories and a lot of like vehicle assembly and stuff like that. The south part of Mexico is more agriculture. I live in the north. So see this little city right there, Saltillo? That's my city. That's where I live. And the Monterrey, which is this one right here, that's a very like important like business hub here in Mexico. There's a lot of very big industry in there. And my family and my wife's family is from there. So every time I say, hey, I'm gonna be out of town, it's probably because I'm gonna be going to Monterrey, which is just like an hour away. So yeah, Christmas was good. We went there for a couple of days, and it was good. It was really hot. It's getting a little bit colder right now. But it was really hot Christmas, like 30 degrees Celsius, so really hot, to be honest. We had like a white Christmas a couple of years ago, but you know, global warming and all that stuff, we haven't had one. Harsh Ranjan says, ZBrush, is there anything in particular about ZBrush, my friend, that you would like to see today? We can do a little bit of a demo there. And Mohan Muthrash says, hi, my friend. Glad to have you guys here on the stream. So yeah, ask me anything, guys. You're free to ask me anything, and I'll be happy to oblige. Of course, as long as it's not indecent questions, right? But yeah, feel free to ask anything about the 3D world, about myself if you want to. I don't know, someone asked about... Oh, wait, this is... ZBrush 2022. Hey, Luis Francisco, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you again as well. Nice to see you. So Harsh says he wants us to do a... Thanks, Gene. Thanks for your kind words. I do enjoy teaching, so I try to improve as a teacher. Some of you, if you've gotten some of the courses that I've released throughout the years, like my first courses were really dry. Like I was just explaining things. Nowadays, I try to make them a little bit more interactive. I try to make them a little bit more digestible. So that's why we changed from like this super big project thing to smaller projects. So it's a little bit easier to follow. And you guys have said or mentioned at least that that's something that you've enjoyed so far. So yeah. There we go. So should we just like free sketch something like an alien or something? Akilish Nejim, hello my friend. Just please someone confirm to me that my audio is working. Just in case asks, did you do Gnomon online or on campus? I did on campus. I was fortunate enough. I did work for a couple of years to save because Gnomon is an expensive school. And back then the dollar was not as expensive as it is today. The peso and the dollar are always like competing, and it creates a little bit of a headache for us. But yeah, I saved for a couple of years, and then I went there on 2013. And I was there for 3 years. I took their certificate program. It's not a full degree. Back then they didn't have the full degree. They only had like the certificate program, and it's called Entertainment Design and Digital Production. That was the like title that I got, right? After the 3 years that I was there. Their courses are a little bit weird because they don't follow like a traditional school approach. They what's the word? Thank you, Justin. They have 10-week classes, so you're gonna have a class for 10 weeks. It's 3 hours per week for each class. So at the end of the course, you're gonna take 30 hours of content, and then they expect you to do up to 5 hours per week per class. So it's a lot of work. And then you have 6 classes each term, and you have 4 terms a year. So if you make the calculation, it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours. But yeah, I learned so much from there. One of the things that I hopefully I've been teaching you guys how to do that in the last couple of months, but one of the things that I learned the most when I was at school was not the softwares. Like, yes, we did learn tricks, but it was more about like the mindset. Like, what are the things that you need to take into account when you're creating something to create something cool, right? It was more about learning how to be an artist rather than how to be how to use the softwares. Because one of the things that they told us every single day is like, softwares are gonna change, you're gonna have to learn new tools, new techniques, but what's always gonna be there, it's gonna be you as an artist, right? So Gene says, have you tried Stager to render and light your work? Hopefully you can do some tutorial on that. I have not tried Stager. Stager Substance, right? Yeah, I mean, to me, Stager is just like a graphics designer marmoset. I don't think that there's gonna be like a direct competition to Marmoset or to like a traditional renderer, because it's just not. I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, it does have some strong rendering capabilities, right? Like this sort of results is very nice. I think this is going to be more for product designers, right? So like if I'm creating a lemonade like this, it's going to be a little bit easier to use it to create this sort of things. And in my line of work, I don't do a lot of product shots. I do more, as you guys know, video game work and BFX. So I don't think that I'm going to be using it particularly, but if there's not enough demand, we can take a look at it. I'm not subscribed to this one because it's a little bit more expensive. I'm only buying the basic like Substance Designer and Source thing. But yeah. Blender Nesia says, hi, please create a tutorial about how to make a character for a game in Blender. It will be very nice. Yeah, that's a great thing. I did. Let me see. Do I have the scene here? I do. So, as you guys know, I didn't know. I don't consider myself to be a Blender artist because I'm just learning it. But on one of the universities that I teach, they asked me to do one Blender course, like a super basic Blender course for students, and the goal was to create. I called it a diorama. I'm not sure if that's the right word I think it is. So it's just like a small, you know, like a small scene, right? Like with very basic props and stuff. This is the kind of stuff you do at school when you're little, right? Like a forest or a desert, stuff like that. And I did this one. So I built this little like a mini Mario inside of Blender, and I showed them how to do the whole process. If that's something that you want me to teach you, I can do that on the YouTube videos as well. Alejandro is doing the Blender stuff, but I can talk to Nalene, and if everyone's on board, we can do something like that, and then I'll be happy to do it. And the students did some crazy stuff, like this guy right here, Mateo. He did this on 1 week of Blender, and he was able to create this thing with the little guidance that I gave him. So yeah, Blender is a very powerful software. I think we're gonna have more Blender this new year. I'm personally learning a lot of Blender in the last couple of days. I've been researching, and there's some very cool stuff. I don't think we're gonna like forget about Maya. Like personally, like I'm not gonna stop using Maya because I've been using it for so long. But I'm definitely gonna start like using both of them, and in certain times where certain projects demand it, Blender might be a better option. So let's see, the next question from Shanks. He says, is it okay to take a year break after graduation to apply for a job? I didn't. I was fortunate enough to get a job offer as soon as I graduated. It was not a big offer. I was doing freelance work. I was a character artist. Actually, I think I can show you those ones as well. Can I? Let me see. I think I have it. Let me go look in my vault. You guys are gonna laugh with this because these are like super old characters that I did so long ago. Here. There we go. So Undead Army. There we go. So when I was hired immediately out of school, they were doing this game which was supposed to be like an Age of Empires game where you would build your army and then face it against someone else's army. It was more like Warhammer, right? So you were gonna customize your army, and they needed a lot of models, so the quality that they were expecting was not super great. And I'm not particularly proud of these characters. Like, they're not in my portfolio anymore. But this was kind of like my first sort of like work that I did. So this was like a hill giant that they asked for me. They were super low poly. Like, you can see them right here. Like, I believe this guy was like less than 2K triangles. And but I am proud of a couple of the undead ones. So for instance, the Banshees. No, the Banshees. No. I really like my vampire general. She was. I think she turned out to be like really nice, right? Like, of course, super fantasy trope, but I think it was quite nice at the end. So yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, if you can afford having like a year off, polishing your skills even further, like preparing a super kick-ass portfolio, and then submitting to get a work or a job, that's great. I do recommend to get a job, even if it's not like your dream job, just to get experience, because a lot of companies out there really value when someone has had some experience on real products and on real stuff, not just like student things. So if you can get something, again, even if it's not the dream job that you want, and still work towards that dream job, I think that would be my best advice. Alan Reen says, hello sir, can you give advice for fresher 3D students how to enter into a job, like how to approach them, what are the things we need and to be prepared like that? Okay, so I knew this was this kind of questions were gonna be showing up, so yes, I can give you guys some insights. Let me show you the very first place I worked at, like the very first place. This was the CG Bot, that's the name. So CG Bot is a company, I've talked about this company before here in Mexico, and what they do is they're a video game production company, but they don't produce their own video games. They are hired by other studios around the world to help them with their studios or with their projects, right? So when I was looking for a job, or actually wasn't looking for a job, they were looking for us because they were growing so fast, and they needed anyone who had like any sort of like 3D experience. They were not even like picky about it. They just gave us like an art test. We had to do like a hammer. So one of the artists was to do a hammer, just like model texture and all that stuff. Another of the artists was to do a dice back in the day. So just one of those guys in 3D with normal maps and stuff. And I did the test, I got accepted, I got a job offer, and I got in, like, just like that. And the first game I was working at was called Utopia, which was a Facebook game back in the day. Pretty much like a Farmville copycat. But every single thing here, all the sprites, they were sprites, like we delivered sprites, but they were 3D, right? So we had to like animate, simulate, render, like there was a lot of 3D work involved. And in this project, I was doing animation. I was doing a lot of animation, like little guys like moving around with like a little guitar or throwing like a baseball ball. Like it was crazy. It was fun. I mean, it was a simple one. It wasn't that difficult, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, it's not in my portfolio. I'm never gonna show this on my portfolio because I don't even have the assets anymore. But like this thing right here, where like when you were building the stuff, you would have this thing like a cloth thing. I did the animation for a lot of the buildings where the cloth would like rise up and just like show the full building. That was like my main like big contribution on the game. But yeah, I mean, it's just like getting your foot on the door. Like even if it's like the most like super basic project out there, that's gonna open so many opportunities. Like I went on this company, I was only there for 3 months. I was only working there for 3 months because I then jumped somewhere else. But I still know people from there. Like I still have like really strong contact with like 5 or 10 artists that were there when I was there, and I know that if I need them, I'm gonna call them, and they know that if they need me, they're gonna call me. So that's why it's so important to get into the industry, because the industry is so small, and there's so many projects that every now and then you're just gonna be hearing about everyone from everywhere, right? So my best advice is, if you have like a great portfolio and you can shoot for the big leagues from the get-go, go for it, right? But if you find like there's a small like indie studio working on something in your country, in your city, go there, do work for like 2 or 3 months, get a general sense of how things are going. Of course, make it paid, right? Like always try to get paid for your work. I don't recommend doing free work, but that's gonna get your foot on the door, and that's gonna let you meet people and kind of see how your industry moves in your specific location. And I think that's one of the best advices that I can give you. Like, you need to get yourself surrounded by other artists and other people that do what you want to do, so that when opportunities arise, your name is gonna be on the pool, right? Because otherwise, if no one knows about you, even if you're super good, then no one's gonna call you. That's as simple as that. So you need to get your name out there. When I was in Los Angeles, they used to do this thing called mixers. They don't do them here in Mexico. That's not something common, but maybe in wherever you guys are, that's something that happens. And they're just like meetups at bars about people in the gaming industry. And it's just to talk. It's not to get a job. It's not to do anything. It's just to talk, meet people. But if you make a good acquaintance or a good friend with someone working at a specific studio, and then that studio needs work, you call this guy and it's like, hey, could you let them know that I'm available? Here's my portfolio. And sometimes those kind of connections get you in the door faster. So that's why it's very, very important to get your name out there and make sure people know what you're doing. Just in case says, I think Stager competes with Keyshot more than Marmoset. With Keyshot, okay. I honestly haven't gotten Keyshot. I think that's gonna be one of my next buys, because it is a little bit expensive, right? Yeah, it's $1,000, so it's it's quite a bit expensive. I know a lot of people like using Keyshot with ZBrush. I'm not sure if that one is a little bit easier, or like ZBrush. I'm not sure if that one's a little bit like cheaper. Is it? Okay, it is cheaper. So Keyshot 10 Pro. Wait, I don't wanna. I don't wanna try it right just yet. So yeah, it's a little bit cheaper. Like the Pro version, it's $550, which is not bad. It's double Marmoset, right? But it's not bad. And I know that Keyshot's really, really powerful. So I'll have to take a look into that. Hello, Umang. How are you doing? Good night. So, well, we've already a couple of minutes into the stream, guys. So, should we continue with some 3D? What do you want, or are there any more questions that you want me to answer? I'll be happy to let you or share more information. I wanted to use this time and this like stream to celebrate, to thank you guys for all of the support throughout this past like half year, right? We started about July, I think, or June. So yeah, it's more of a thank you to you guys. So I'm willing to work with you guys and show you cool stuff, whatever you guys want. If there's no specific thing, I think I'm gonna do like a freestyle alien over here. So kind of like interesting. I've been playing a little bit of Halo lately, and I've been really inspired to do some sci-fi stuff. Jean says, yeah, Dokisha tutorial will please focus on character rendering and lighting. Okay, I'll take that into consideration. I'll definitely take that into consideration, my friend. Right now, we do have I am working on a premium course. Alejandro is working on a premium course as well. But we'll add all of those suggestions to our pipeline. Sita says, I keep messing up human face anatomy. Eddie and Mites, what things are you having issues with, my friend? Yes, I can lower the music. Give me just 1 second. Is that better? There we go. That should be better, right? Okay, let's go one by one. So the first question was from Siddhant. He says he's messing up face anatomy. What's the problem, man? What are you having issues with? Proportions? Form? What might be it? Okay, Justin says... Okay, eyes and jawline. Okay, for the eyes, Nalin actually recorded a very nice... I learned a lot from that video from Nalin. He recorded a very nice video. It's on the channel. Look for his stuff. It's a little bit older, like 2 years ago. But he does a demo on sculpting the eye. Let me show you some very quick pointers about the eyes. So, well, let me... tools, let's see. There we go. So... there's a couple of very important things about the eyes. First of all, well, the placement, right? Like, you need to make sure that the placement of the eyes is exactly where you need it to. Which, in this case, it's usually at the middle of the face. Like, this face, I don't particularly like because I think the ears are a little bit low. So, I'll probably, like, move the ears just slightly up. That's what my sculptor teacher would say. Then eyes are very interesting because they are concave, so it's like carving into the head, but they're also convex. Okay, so when you take a look at the eyes, there's gonna be 4 main things that you're gonna see. You're gonna see the brow, which is this one right here, right? And you're gonna see the upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and then the zygomatic bone, which is our cheekbone, which is this one right here. Let me add a couple more divisions so that I can like draw a little bit easier. So this is the zygomatic bone, and as you can see, it goes backwards towards the where the ear is gonna be, like that. Now, when you see it from the front, it's very important that you understand that there's like levels of depth of where things should be. Okay, so I think this was probably one of the most valuable lessons I learned from my sculpting teacher, traditional sculpting, I mean. So let's create like this sort of like planes. There we go. So if we were to map out where each of those elements that I just mentioned is, you're gonna find that the eyebrow is right there, and then the upper eyelid, it's right there, and then the lower eyelid, as you can see, it's right there, and then the cheekbone is right here. So if we move this thing like out like this, see how each thing that I just mentioned is further back into the eyes? So you're gonna see this sort of like stepping thing going where each thing is gonna be further like in, like there's gonna be more depth inside of the eyes, and that's super important because that's gonna give depth to the whole face, and it's not gonna look like a flat element. Other than that, one of the things that you really need to take into consideration is where the like bumps and where the like carvings are. So usually on the inside of the eye here, you're gonna have like a concave area. It's gonna be empty, kind of like you're carving in, right? And then on the outside right here, you're gonna have a convex area. So you're gonna have a little bit of volume, which is like the Like it's not the upper eyelid. It's like this little fatty tissue, and the older you get, the more intense it becomes. It's this like little fatty tissue that you have here. And then the lower eyelid, a very common mistake that people make is that they add a lot of volume here, right? And as you can see here, it's actually not like that. Like the lower eyelid is actually gonna carve into the eye. It's gonna follow the shape of the eye. And then beneath that, that's where you're gonna have like the little eye back here, which is gonna, again, be very important for our volume. So those are the kind of shapes that you want to really take into consideration when sculpting the eyes. One of the best books that I can recommend is called Anatomy for Sculptors. If you can get the PDF version, I would strongly recommend it. Because it has all of this information. It's all of these diagrams where it shows you where all of the muscles are. There's not theory. Like you're not gonna read explanations of how muscles work and stuff. It's more about the forms and where they're going. But the section about the face is really, really, really good because it goes over all of this kind of stuff where you see how the planes of the face, look at this, this little baby. You can see all of the planes of the face, and it's a little bit easier to understand how you should be doing that. And again, well, you guys already know this trick. The best thing you can do is practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more you're gonna learn from all of this stuff, right? So do a lot of face studies, try to do an actor, try to do a stylized character, try to do an old character, try to do a young character, try to do like a damaged character. Like there's a lot of things that you can do, and the more you practice, the easier it's gonna become. Shanks, I'm gonna go into your question, Justin, just in just 1 second. Give me just 1 second, because I think Shanks' question can be answered a little bit faster. Is character artist a good career or environment artist? Character artist is a great career. I mean, I've had the most fun doing characters, and I think most 3D artists, I'm not saying everyone, really loves doing characters because characters are, well, the protagonists, right? It's like being the lead singer or the lead guitarist of the band, right? However, and this is one of the things that a lot of our teachers told us, in a production, like think about Avengers. Just think about Avengers. In Avengers, how many characters are there? You have the Avengers, let's say, 6, and then you have maybe 6 billions, and then you have like the minions that you kill or that they kill, and that's it. However, how many environments there are? How many things are there in the environments? How many like weapons? How many ships? How many cars? How many buildings? Like there's so much stuff in the 3D world that doesn't have to do with characters. Same for like a Pixar movie. My wife was watching Encanto, which is the most recent one, which is I believe based on Colombian culture. Like just take a look at this shot. Like if you take a look at this shot, you might think that the characters are the most important thing, right? And yes, you wouldn't be wrong. But there's only 6 characters. Take a look at how many other 3D assets there are, like the plants, the grass, the rocks on the ground, all of these little toys right here, all of these props right here, the roofs, the little buildings, the mountains, the clouds. Like there's so much stuff in 3D, like so many things in 3D that need to be done that are not character related, right? Like you don't get the same excitement by saying, hey, I modeled this little toy than by saying, hey, I modeled this little girl, right? Like it's a little bit more impressive, or you get like more bragging rights by saying you did a character than an object, but you get paid roughly the same. So I mean, it's up to you. There is more challenge as a 3D character artist. Like you are gonna face more competition because there's more people that want to do that. Again, going back to the band analogy, it's like the main guitarist or the main singer, there's gonna be more competition. However, if you pick the other one, you might have a little bit of a better shot, although you might not have as much recognition. It's just that. That's just the thing. Darkness, how are you, my friend? Everyone's doing great. Okay, yeah, Siddhanta says you just got the Stylized character course and you almost completed. That's great. Yeah, the soldier, right? That one's a cool one. Okay, so let's jump on to Justin's question because that's a great question. And Justin says, how do you tackle cloth seams so you have control over the color of the stitches? Pre-made brushes mostly have the stitches in the seams already. Yes. So, you're gonna find 2 things here, or 2 options. One thing you can do is just use one of the stitching brushes here instead of ZBrush. Like, where is it? This one's, right? Like this one. So I can just, let's say we're doing like Frankenstein again or something, and I just do this. The problem with this, as you very smartly pointed out, is the fact that you don't have control over the stitches, and you're gonna have to mask them out individually, which is gonna be a pain, right? The other thing you can do is using an insert brush. There's like this EMM basics, and if you grab like this ring right here, okay, let me, let's append a new sphere. There we go. I think I've shown. Yeah, I know. Oh my god, I know. There we go. So let's make this smaller. Now, if I were to append this little ring right here, you can see that it's right there, right? Let's do like a ring. So another option is, and you can make like a custom brush with this. I did this for a character a long time ago, like the Abomination. I think I've shown you guys. And you can just like duplicate this, guys, right? Like create your own stitching. And then this, guys, you use the ID map inside of Substance Painter to isolate them so that you can individually mask them out and paint them into your object. That would be, if I had to do like very precise stitching, this would probably be the way I would do it. However, the only downside with using this technique is that you're gonna get a really, really high poly count because each ring is actually geometry there. So you might wanna, it depends, right, on what kind of game you're going for. Hopefully I answered the question there, my friend. Yes, another option is Substance Painter, and it has a new, Substance Painter has a new like technique. I'll do a yeah. So this was like what? This was early last year. So there's this new stitch brush that you can use, and it's really handy. The only problem is this is not real geometry, right? It's just texture. So if you're doing like a character for a video game and you just need to do like stitching, check this one out. It's on the official Substance site. I can later make a video about this stitching brushes. But yeah, this is a very very quick way to do it. It's not gonna look the same because it's just a texture, but if you use height map later on, you might be able to get even like a little bit of displacement. So yeah, it could work. It could work. Okay, let's see. Anatomy premium course would be nice. Keep telling that to Nalin. I've been telling him that an anatomy course would be great, like a premium anatomy course. I've been wanting to do one anatomy course because I love anatomy. I love doing and teaching anatomy. So if you keep commenting, he'll see it and he'll know that that you guys are demanding now, and we can do that one as another premium course. But yes, premium like anatomy is one of the ones that I really want to do. Let's see. Aniket says, hello sir, any tips on art tests before the job, and thanks a lot for the awesome premium courses. Okay, so I have a personal opinion about art tests. I haven't done an art test in like 7 years or 8 years. Like I can't remember the last time I did an art test. I think, and hopefully this doesn't sound like extremely presumptuous or pretentious, I think I'm in a level right now where I don't need my skills to be tested. Like, if you see my portfolio and you like my portfolio and you want me to work with your company, or I want to work with your company and my portfolio is not enough, then I'll probably look somewhere else. Because I don't think, again, free work is not something that I can't afford right now. I have a family to to maintain and everything, so I wouldn't do that. However, when I was a student or when I just started, yes, it is part of the process. You have to do it at least once or twice until you get your foot in the door, and after that it gets a little bit easier. So what's the best way you can prepare? Easy. Let's say, for instance, that as I mentioned with CGBot, they did this hammer test, right? So the test that they had is you need to model and texture a hammer, and it had to match the reference perfectly. So they would give you like something like this, like an old hammer, and you need to match it perfectly. So the thing with art tests is that usually, not always, but usually they will give you a time frame, right? That they'll say like, okay, I'm gonna send you the image and you have to deliver it by tomorrow afternoon, right? Like you have 12 hours or 24 hours to deliver it, and you're supposed to take about 4 to 6 hours. I would do it once, and if I don't like it, I will do it again. And if I don't like it, I will do it again. Of course, you wouldn't send like the 3 attempts, you would send the best attempt at them, right? And if they ask you, hey, how long does it took you? You were going to say 6 hours. You're not going to say that it took you 18 hours because you did it 3 times. And I know that's like a little bit of a white lie, but at that point, like you just want to prove that you know how to do things, even if it takes you a little bit longer to do them, right? So if you already know, like I remember Naughty Dog, you know, these guys do they do artists. They're one of the companies that really do artists, and I think one of the artists is this, like an environment, like a ruin thing for environment artists. So if you already know what you're looking for, practice beforehand. Like don't send the email asking for an artist or for the chance to attempt an artist. Try to do it yourself first. And once you feel confident, like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing, I think I got like the skills and the things that I need, then you send the thing, right? You can't prepare yourself. It's like going for a fight, right? You prepare yourself for the fight before actually going there. So that I think that would be my advice, my friend. Dasu Sainath asks, is 3D Studio Mask is using in industries or not? Yes, it is. It is used quite a bit. I had a friend. I'm not sure if he's still Konstantin Leontev. Leontev 3D. There we go. So he was a contemporary of mine. He was a student the same as me, but he went into effects. So he did a lot of like the explosions and destruction and demolition. And I believe he uses 3D Studio Max because there were some plugins and stuff that they were using for that. He worked at Naughty Dog and then he went to Respawn for a little while. I'm not sure where he is right now. It seems like he's at Guerrilla Games right now. So yeah, he is he's a really talented guy as well, and he's been doing some great stuff. So yeah, 3D Studio Max is still used. I don't think it's as big as Maya and now Blender. You guys know that Blender's been getting quite a bit of fame recently, but it is used. Deepak says, make tutorial on face texturing in Substance Painter. I think we already did that one. I need to check the channel. I think we did one texture, but if not, I'm pretty sure we've covered that on our premium course as well. So if you haven't checked those out and you want to check them out, go for that one. The soldier one, we do stylized painting, and then the demon one, we do a little bit more realistic painting. But if we do the anatomy course, then we could do like an anatomy painting course or something. That would be cool, right? So let's see. Wilfred says, hey man, hi, how to match concept perfectly in stylized characters? I don't think you can match it always. Like there's because it's just a matter of here, let me show you also concept art. Like even if you're like the best like 3D artist in the world, matching it like perfectly, it's not possible, because when you jump from 2D to 3D, you're gaining or adding an extra dimension, and that changes a lot of things. So my personal opinion and what my teachers used to recommend to us was, don't focus too much on like matching perfectly. Focus on capturing the essence of the character, right? Like that's what you want. Like you wanna, when you see a concept art and then you see the 3D, you want to make sure that you match or that you capture the like, I mean, this is a very a stupid example, but yeah, like this Peppa Pig thing, yeah, like you will lose things. You can't match this thing because this is a doodle. It's weird, right? So you won't be able to match it perfectly, but you can capture the essence and capture the effect. Another perfect example, I think this is a very nice design for Yogi and Boo Boo Bear. Like, cause if you try to like perfectly match things, then it won't look great. Like I think, for instance, this one is Curious George, right? And they did match the concept, but it's on like on the uncanny valley, right? So you need to make sure that it doesn't look wrong on 3D. So that's why rather than matching perfectly, try to capture the essence. Okay, that would be my advice for that question. Hopefully, again, I'm answering the questions properly. So let's say. Cease gang, yeah, welcome my friend. You're on time. We started earlier, but I'm gonna go. Let's see how the questions keep on coming, and we'll keep going. Darkness says, can you suggest me any video or course on wood sculpting in ZBrush? I'm a hard surface weapon artist, but my studio need to make a lot of medieval stuff. Are you talking about realistic wood or stylized wood, my friend? Because I have suggestions for both of them. Alexei Dutchenko says, please create a course about creating realistic animals with the same quality as Anthony Hopkins' course. You know what? That's an excellent idea. That's an excellent idea. Maybe with fur and stuff, like action, we could do something like that. I'm gonna have to do some research because I don't usually do animals. I do a little bit more characters and creatures. But yeah, that would be that's a great idea. Actually, let me open my little sticky notes over here and write it down, because that's a great idea. So far we have the anatomy course suggestion. Anatomy course. We have the animal modeling, and if there's any other, let me know and I'll write it down. Okay, so Darkness says that realistic wood mostly. Okay, so for realistic wood, my friend, there's three main things that you are gonna look for. First of all, alphas. You need to get yourself a pack of realistically like sculpted or generated wood alphas, and like this kind of stuff, right? Like this is realistic wood, and it might be a little bit pricey. Like I'm not sure how pricey this is. This one actually seems to be free. Yeah, they seem to be free, so I'm actually just gonna copy this in the comment section if you guys wanna get them. It seems like they're, oh no, they're not free. Okay, $4. It's completely like it's like super nice. So you're definitely gonna need alphas, because one of the main things about wood is the grain. Like the grain of the wood is gonna dictate a lot of the objects. Now you already know what I'm about to say if you've seen our portfolio reviews. But let's say like a table, like an old medieval table, right? Like let's say you're building one of these assets. So the first thing you need to know or need to do is make sure that the modeling it's done right. Like it has to be really like a really clean model. Most of this are perfectly fine. Then you need to decide the poly budget. If you have enough poly budget, like if you are able to actually afford enough like triangles, like imagine you have like a plank of wood. Like what you're gonna have on this plank of wood, or what I would add is I would add like small like little hits, like damage on the corners and stuff, and then I would add enough divisions across the wood so that it's not like completely straight. Because if you do it like a completely straight line, it looks like really ugly, right? Like if you do something like this, it looks very ugly. However, if you do like a little bit more of a crazy wood, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, you're gonna get a more realistic result, especially if it's a damaged wood, right? Because that's another thing. Not every single piece of wood is gonna be like completely damaged. Like take a look at this thing. It's pretty nice. This sort of ornaments, I also think there's there was this guy, this very famous guy. It's not this guy, but there's people that sell this sort of stuff like as alphas and as displacement. This one, Jonas Rodegard. He's super famous around here. Probably guys have seen some of his stuff as well, and he sells this sort of stuff. So again, this is not something that you want to be doing every single time. You just buy this. It's $3, and then you just use this as many times as you need. So yeah, that's probably what I would recommend. Astronaut, why Indian time? I was just scheduling this so that our friends in India were at about midday, so it should be 12:47 p.m. for you guys. So that's why I'm calling it Indian time. But tomorrow we're gonna have one at America time, which is gonna be at 12:30 p.m. for me, p.m. Mexico. So if you're in the Pacific, or if you're in Central Time, or if you are in any part of America, you're probably going to be a little bit closer. It's not going to be as late, because right now over here it's almost 1 a.m. So that's the only reason. Making videos on procedural material studies. Okay, I'll add that to the list. So procedural materials. Procedural materials is such a complicated topic. It's not an area that I normally dwell too much onto because it is complicated. Procedural materials, Arnold. So, I mean, there's simple stuff like this sort of thing, which is not difficult to do, like Rust stuff and elements like that. There's some really complex stuff like this sort of thing, which can be useful. I don't do that as much because I don't do a film as much, and this usually works a little bit more for film. But yeah, it's a nice topic. The other one that I want to show you guys eventually, maybe that's something you guys might be interested in, which is Substance Designer. You know, creating like this sort of like titleable textures, like your own titleable textures to be used. Like there's some crazy things in this software as well with the new nodes and stuff, and you can create amazing things. Like this thing is crazy. Like to me, being able to create this sort of thing, it's just crazy. It's just amazing. But even something as simple as a cobblestone road, I think it's a powerful tool to learn and to have. We can learn about this one later on as well. Yeah, as Justin mentioned, GRO also has some really good wood alphas, so yeah, definitely check him out. Yep. Cool. Keep the questions coming, guys. Keep the questions coming. I'll go back here to the alien. Let's see what else can we do here. So I was doing this sort of like fatty necks. I'm using my clay buildup here to build up a little bit of this fatty tissue. I think I'm gonna have like a couple of eyes. So here's my rule of thumb. Every time I'm adding an eye, like let's say I'm adding like 1, 2, 3, let's do 4, let's do 8 eyes, like spider. So every single eye should have a little bit of an eyebrow, like an indication of an eyebrow, and a little bit of a zygomatic arch, like back here, to support the option, right? So that's the kind of stuff that it usually helps. Now, I really want to push the silhouette here, so I'm going to use my snake hook. I am going to turn the sculptures. Now, let's see what we can do here. Not sure. Yeah, kind of like that. Like small little horns. There we go. Hey, Ricardo, how are you doing, my friend? It's weird to talk to you in English. If you're the Ricardo that I think you are. It's been working fine. Right now he's asking about, I have this setup right now that it's a standing desk and a sitting desk, so I can change this. I can show you here. Let me show you. Whoop. There we go. So now we're standing, and it's very helpful, especially after like long periods of work. Being able to change from one position to the other one, it's very cool. Farhan, how are you, my friend? Hey, nice to see you here. Any suggestion or tips for fresher students on what? On 3D in general or on ZBrush? You know, my suggestion is always going to be practice. That's probably the best thing that anyone can do whenever they're learning anything, right? Practice. But if I can suggest something right now, especially from what I've been seeing in the industry lately, if you haven't taken a look at Blender, try Blender. Really, it is a powerful software. It is really cool. I'm becoming a lot more pro Blender than I thought I was gonna be. But it is a really nice. It's a really nice software. So you guys know about the Blender Guru. He's a super well-known YouTuber with way more views than us, and he has the donut tutorial, which is really cool. So follow it, do it. If you don't have anything to do in this like a couple of days before the end of the year, that's a great project. It shouldn't take you more than like 2 or 3 days, and I think you guys are gonna get a lot of good information out of it. He doesn't go like super deep in the importance of certain things about 3D, like topology and stuff like that, on that video, but it's a good like intro to Blender, and as I mentioned, it's a cool thing. I am improvising right now. I'm improvising, so I'm going for like a very traditional, like humanoid shape. I'm thinking that he has this sort of like exoskeleton thingy, like this, like a carapace sort of thing. So he protects, or it protects like the front of his face with like all of this thing, and then all of this is like wonky stuff. I do want some ears, so I'm gonna use again my snake hook. And let's push this. Let's do some like ears. Here's where psychology and design comes into play. If I do the ears pointing downwards, he's gonna look like a droopy character. So he's not gonna look menacing, right? He's gonna look like a puppy. So that's kind of like a friendly alien. So I'm thinking maybe he's like the mechanic of the ship, right? Like the dorky guy who's like, oh, we're being attacked, and he just like jumps from one place to another. So we're going for that, which is a little bit of a irony, right? Because he has eight eyes, which might look a little bit intimidating, but then like his general shape and stuff, he makes we make him look a little bit more friendlier. Let's see. Okay, Ricardo asks, what desk do I have? It's this one. Standing desk is this one right here. So it has this sort of like piston thing, and just like push it up and down. It's a little bit expensive, but like not super affordable, but it's a good thing to have, to be honest. It's nice. I like it. So that's the one. Harper Singh says, your daily videos are my motivation for 3D. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I've always, that's one of the my main goals, to help everyone learn about 3D and get better in this job. Atul says, sir, I have learned Maya from your tube. That's great. Right now I'm confused. What I start learning, ZBrush or Blender? If you already know Maya, I would suggest before jumping into Blender, which is very similar, I think ZBrush is going to be better for you, because it's a completely different software, and you're going to be able to learn things like this little guy right here, or do things like this little guy right here, which would be very difficult to do inside of Maya. Now, Blender does have some sculpting, but it's not as good as ZBrush. So if you already know Maya and you're just starting, go with ZBrush first, and then after you learn a little bit of ZBrush, then you can learn a little bit of Blender, so that you can start like filling in the gaps and using whatever software you find the most comfortable. Let's see. Have you tried rendering in Blender without doing UVs? Yes, I think I did show you guys this thing that we did. At the beginning of the stream, I was telling them, or you guys, that I did this little 1 week workshop here on one of the universities, and the goal was to create a little bit of a diorama, and this is the one that I did. So I created this little like a mini Mario from one of the Mario games, and this none of these elements have UVs. Like, this is full only materials and basic lights. So yes, you can definitely create a render without UVs inside of Blender. How to delete the polymesh? What polymesh? Like from here? From ZBrush? How to delete a piece of mesh? Very easy. You there's a couple of ways, right? Like, one, of course, is to just like carve in and just delete whatever you don't want. But easiest one is Control Shift and then Alt, Control Shift Alt, to hide specific parts of the mesh, and then you're gonna go into Geometry, Modify Topology, Delete Hidden, and whatever was hidden is now deleted. So when you Dynamesh again, that gets closed as a whole. Now, if you're using ZBrush 2022, you have the knife curve, which is super cool, because whatever is on the other side of the gradient, as you can see there, is just literally going to be cut, like a clean cut. It's just going to go. The only problem here is that it doesn't have symmetry, so you're going to have to do something called mirror and weld. But yeah, it's cool. So that will be the best way to do it. So let's do. Justin says, I do 30-minute sketches in ZBrush every day since the Halloween special for practice. Also, at least 1 hour a day and a bit. That's great. Every single practice is good. Now, if you've been doing this for like since Halloween, which is like a month, my advice would be start going for longer sessions. Like that's the when we were. I can't show it right now because we might get like banned because of nudity. But when I was doing gesture drawing, which is just like fast drawings, every single time we would start with like 1 minute drawings or 30-second drawings. But by the end of the class, we would do like 30-minute drawings so that all of the things that you just learned and practice for, now you can really polish. So if you're already doing, like, I would do like, I don't know, one 30-minute sketch on Monday and then one full sketch throughout the rest of the week. Just like that, because you already have some practice there. Because quick sketches are good, but you need to have finished products, and the only way to finish product is, of course, by doing it. So yeah, there we go. Steven Pasco says, "Hi Abraham, been doing your course on Udemy. Gotta say you're one of the best instructors on the interwebs." Thank you, my friend. I don't think I am. I am proud of the way I teach. I like how I teach. My students say that I like how I teach, so I really appreciate it. I'm gonna take the compliment. I'm not gonna try to downplay it. I'm just gonna, in this one, I'm gonna take it. Thank you. Thank you. Alan Rain, any tips on how to create low poly grill fence in Maya, because it reached 100k poly easily for a single fence. Also, how to create objects like make top part if the poly budget is low. Yes, there is a. I mean, you mean like this grills? This is what I know as a grill, like this sort of things. Now you can keep it with like super simple cylinders, like with 8-sided cylinders, and then just smooth the meshes. Here, I'm gonna show you it in Blender actually, because it opens a little bit faster. So here. So if we were to create like a cylinder, you can do this in Maya, by the way, and change the sides to 8 sides. And then let's just scale on C. There we go. And if you delete the faces, like this face right there, and this face right there, and you right click and shade smooth, it is gonna look like a super smooth element. And now you can like duplicate this as many times as you want. And yes, each new like grill part is gonna be 8 more sides, but like right now it's only what, 64, and it's not that bad, right? So unfortunately for those kind of objects, it's a little bit difficult to go low poly. The best thing would be textures. So like an alpha texture for a fence, like this sort of thing. If you needed to like cover like a humongous amount of area, then this is probably what I would do. Like create a fence texture that looks really good. And that's it. Unless you have like a character like interacting with the fence, like he's grabbing or climbing or something, you're gonna have to have the high poly. Like there's no other way around it. You're gonna need a high poly specifically for that shot, specifically for that section of the fence. Like there's probably no way around it. So yeah. Let's see. Ricardo asks, ¿conoces a tus coworkers de Nexttut? ¿Tienen llamadas o es completamente individual? He's asking if I know my co-workers here at Nexttut. I do know Alejandro. I have talked to him on a call like a couple of weeks ago. And Nalin, of course, like we have calls, so we know it. Nalin, as you guys know, he's the boss. He's the owner of Nexttut. There's 2 other people that you guys don't know because they are working behind the curtains with all of the infrastructure and the like things behind the back, right? We're actually working on something very cool that I can't spoil right now, but it's going to be coming very soon. So yeah, I am one of the main instructors. I don't know all of the other instructors because other instructors sometimes are only hired for specific courses and they're not part of like the core team. But right now, I would say Alejandro, Nalin, and myself, we are part of like the core team. Rona has, hey Abraham, how are you doing? Well, I just want to ask when you were going to do next portfolio review session. That's a great question. Let's check the calendar because it's all going to depend on the calendar. It's probably going to be on... I think we're gonna do it on the 15th, my friend. So January 15 and 16, it's probably gonna be the one. Probably on Monday the 3rd, when we come back with our regular videos, I'm gonna announce the open submissions, and you guys are gonna have 2 weeks to submit. We're gonna have 15 and 16, and then probably 29 and 30 as well. So it's probably gonna be middle of the month and end of the month. It's usually gonna be the way we're gonna be handling the portfolio reviews. But it's only if there's enough submissions. Remember, if we don't have enough submissions, we're just gonna like combine everything and have only one portfolio review a month. Hey Abe, you're the best. Thank you, Sarai. Thank you. What software are you use? What software are you used in your office work and personal projects? So my main softwares, as you guys can see here, are like the Adobe suite. I have After Effects, Photoshop, Substance Painter, Media Encoder. I use Unreal Engine. I have Maya 2022, which is the latest version. ZBrush, Marmoset, Blender, I'm just learning, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I think that's all of the softwares that I own and that I use. Unreal Engine, a little bit. I've used Unity before. I haven't used it recently though. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have any other like important 3D softwares. So yeah, that's it. Those are my softwares of choice. Let's see. Farhan says, "Thanks so much for your advice, sir. I will forward it." And another one too. How you, Nalin? Oh yeah, I remember now. Farhan was the one that asked that a couple of videos ago. Like, how did Nalini found me? Right? He found me. He found some of my videos. This was 2 years ago, so it's been 2 years since we started working together. And it was very funny because he was very straightforward. He was like, "Hey, I saw your videos. I want you to make a tutorial video for me." And that was the environment for film. That was the first tutorial I did for Nexttut. And he was very straightforward. He said, "If this tutorial does well and you deliver nicely, you and I will be working for a long time." And I was like, okay. At first I was like, yeah, sure, because a lot of times clients would like ask for a job, and then you deliver that job, and then you don't hear from the client ever again. But no, after that we just kept doing one more course and one more course and one more course and one more course. And then earlier this year he was like, "Hey, let's start pushing the YouTube channel. I want you to be the main face on the YouTube channel." And if you guys remember, we started with like small series, like every like other day and stuff. And then he was like, "We want videos every day. Let's do videos every day." And it's like, sure, let's go. So that's how we met. He found me. I think he found me due to another tutorial that I did before that one, which is this one. So if you look me up in the internet, you're gonna find this other tutorial. It's a little bit old, so most of the techniques in this one are a little bit outdated. But I did this character for another company that I'm not gonna be promoting over here right now. And I think he found me on that tutorial, and that's how he got the contact. Yeah, Aditya, we definitely need to do a game ready haircut tutorial. That's important. We need to do that one. We haven't done it. Wilfred says, "Learning ZBrush is awesome and fun, but sometimes I have a question if I'm a beginner or intermediate." Yeah, well, what's your question, my friend? If you want to write it down, I'll be happy to answer it. But everyone's a beginner at every, like, I consider myself a beginner at a lot of stuff that people do with ZBrush. Like, I see the stuff and I'm like, I don't have any idea of how I would do that, because, and that's the thing with 3D softwares, they're so vast. Like, there's so many things you can do with 3D softwares that you can't do everything. Like, you can't be a master of everything, and it's just something that you have to deal with. Like, you're gonna be really good at characters or like props or like environments or like specific things. Just pick whatever you like the most and be really good at it. So don't like, I consider myself to be an expert in certain areas and a complete noob and beginner at other areas. So that's completely fine, my friend. It's not a bad thing. Harpreet says, "Sir, do you have an exclusive texturing course in Substance? I'm struggling with texturing and UVs." No, we don't have one, but that's another one that I'm gonna write it down, because a lot of people have been asking about that one, like texturing and UVs. So that's definitely something that we need to take into consideration. Thank you for the suggestion. We'll work on that. There are some UV information in the videos that I've been uploading. Like, if you go back and take a look, like at what was it that we did for the lighthouse? The windows. Check the windows video for the lighthouse because I show you like a little bit of the UV technique that we normally use, and there might be some information that's helpful for you over there. But yeah, let's see. I'm just gonna say Roy. Roy says, I'm skilled at traditional sculpting. Will my skill help me when I start off with ZBrush eventually? I was thinking about buying that course of Victor Yamakado. Will that help me as a noob? Yes, traditional sculpting will definitely help you. Not particularly with the tool, like you're not gonna be better at ZBrush just because you know sculpting, but better at understanding what are the things that you need to look for. Like one of the main things that I always ask my students is form. Like make sure your forms are clean. Make sure that your objects look round or flat or like triangular, cylindrical. Like keep your forms clean, right? And if you already have experience with traditional sculpture, finding those forms and finding those proper proportions and stuff might be a little bit easier. Not mandatory to know it, but it definitely helps. I did took some traditional sculpting classes before doing ZBrush. Kumar says, hello, sir. Oh, yeah, the game ready haircuts, yes. Atul asks, which one's better, Unreal or Unity? That's the that's the ages old question, right? You guys want me to be crucified right here. So they're both powerful. We can't deny it. Like there's been great games made with both engines. I do think Unreal Engine's a little bit more powerful than Unity, personally. It's a little bit more artist friendly because you don't need to know programming or scripting languages. You can just like plug in stuff and make it work. We've actually been working on a project using Unreal, and it's very easy to understand and to like create things. However, I do think Unity has a lot of potential because it's more flexible. Like Unreal is like getting a box of Legos, and you need to work with what they give you. It's very difficult to customize specific things. And Unreal or Unity, since you have to write every single line of code, or not every single, but a lot of code, you're able to create more interesting and creative things. Like I've seen more interesting and creative games from Unity than from Unreal. But like visually, Unreal has more stunning visuals, I think, than Unity from the get-go. Ricardo asks, do you enjoy teaching beginner or advanced level students? That's a great question. I think both, but for different reasons. I really like teaching beginner level students because it's really cool to see the magic in their eyes when they start doing stuff and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe it, I did it, it looks good, I've created something. I think the ones that I struggle with the most are intermediate students. I really don't like teaching intermediate students because a lot of them tend to fall into this sort of like comfort zone where they're like, I know enough 3D and I don't really want to push myself, and they're very lazy. So I've had that happen with a couple of your friends, my friend Ricardo, because Ricardo is one of my students here from the university. And yeah, that's unfortunate. Like people don't want to do the extra work, so I can't teach them the cool stuff, like that really advanced stuff, because they don't want to go over that like intermediate phase, and nothing I can do with that. Let's see. Singh says, can we learn Blender and ZBrush at the same time? Yes, you can totally learn. When you're a beginner level student, my advice is to focus on one thing first. If you're, because there's a lot of people that are very capable, intellectually, to be able to grab a lot of information very naturally. If you can learn both at the same time and make sure that you understand and properly execute both of them, then great. However, I usually recommend going like one software at a time. Make sure you really are good with what software before you jump onto the next one. Let's see. Oh, you're welcome, Wilfred. Thank you for your kind words. Kacha says, any tips on how to find jobs or freelance projects? Also, which platform is best to find jobs? So the main one I know, it's ArtStation, of course. And there is a lot of jobs here in ArtStation. You're gonna have to find ones that are looking for your level and your style and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes, like even in LinkedIn, and like each country usually has its own sort of way to find jobs. Here in Mexico, they use a lot this thing called Behance, or at least graphic designers do. Behance, it's kind of like ArtStation, but from Adobe. So I know a lot of friends that get jobs from there. Yeah, I mean, this is the one that I know the most, which is ArtStation. But I know that it's a little bit disheartening to send your curriculum and never hearing back from the elements. Another option is just go online and look for directories. Sometimes just looking for directories, it's a good way to just like get your name out there and just start like knocking on doors and getting some information. Let's see. Hello, Manli. How are you? Mishra says, sure, can you choose some type of sci-fi cityscape? I'm having problems in sci-fi style lighting. Dude, if you have problems with lighting a sci-fi city, look no further than Blade Runner. I mean, Blade Runner is just one of, if not the most graphically beautiful movies out there. Both of them, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. So take an inspiration on them. Like, I think there's so much stuff that you can get from there. Yes, it's a little bit more into, or it goes a little bit more into the like gloomy, like post-apocalyptic, or not post-apocalyptic, like steampunk vibe. If you want like cleaner looks, Star Wars actually has a lot of very nice like shots of the cities that you can use for inspiration, and most of them have like some very nice lighting. So yeah, I think any of this, and if any, like if you can't find a specific sci-fi movie, don't be like a city color photo. Like, don't, like, you can just go for like a traditional city city photo, and just look for a nice like lighting setup that you might want, and just adapt it to your sci-fi setup. Like, there's no need to find like specific sci-fi thing to get a nice render. Nicola, don't worry, my friend. We still have. I'm gonna go for about 15 more minutes, guys, if that's okay with you, because it's getting a little bit late here and I need to sleep. But yeah, let's keep answering some questions. So. Okay, so Kumar has a question. He says, some tips for baking high poly mesh details into low poly, especially in the intersecting areas. I'm actually gonna make a quick demo for that one, because I think you guys can benefit from this one very nicely. So the first thing you wanna avoid when working with where's my pen? Here. The first thing you want to avoid when working with normal maps is overhangs. Overhangs are gonna kill you. So let's say you're doing like an armor, right? And you're designing like an armor for like a World of Warcraft character, and you do something like this, and you model, and you're really happy, and then you decide to add like an eagle over here, and then the eagle has like a beak, and then it goes like this, right? And then the mouth is open like this, right? Like, this area right here is gonna be super complicated to do a bake, like a proper bake, because there's so many things and they're so thin that things are just gonna be intersecting with each other, and it's just gonna be a little bit difficult. So if you design things in an easier way without as much of this sort of like overhangs, that's gonna be better. Now, if you do need to have overhangs, one of the best things you can do is separate them by name. So here's what I mean. Let's bevel this. There we go. So let's say this is like a mesh that I want to create, and see how there's like an overhang over there. Like, if I had to do like a low poly, I would have to go in there and create like the overhang and stuff. It would be very messy, right? Now, one thing you can do is have two separate low poly meshes. Like, one of these guys is going to be a low poly mesh, and then this one's going to be another poly mesh, even if they're intersecting. As long as it's not going to deform, it works perfectly fine, and you can bake each one separately without affecting the other one. That would be my advice for low poly bakers. I think on the solder premium course that we have, I do go over like properly naming things so that when you bake things, they don't bake into each other. So if you have that course, check the baking part out. I think I also do that on the demon course, on the demon character course. But yeah, that's one of the advices. Like, you can exclude certain things from being baked into each other, and that makes it a lot easier for the whole process. Um, Gokul says, "What's your designation? I mean, modeler, compositor, or anything else?" Well, that's a great question. In ArtStation, I think I'm a modeler. I call myself like character artist or something like that, or character modeler or something. However, here in Mexico, when I introduce myself to like acquaintances or any like work relationships, I am a 3D producer. I call myself a 3D producer. Why? Because I produce things in 3D, meaning that I can do a commercial, I can do render shots, I can do 3D printing, I can do video games, I can do renders or cinematic shots. Like, I don't like to say I'm a 3D modeler because then people think, oh, he just models in 3D. No, no, no. I can do a lot of different things. So whenever I introduce myself here, I call myself a 3D producer or 3D designer, so that they know that I can design or produce anything in 3D, and that has given me some very nice opportunities, job wise. So yeah, that's the that's my designation. Singh says, when you started learning the 3D, what main problems have you faced, and what mistake you have made? What advice you want to share to newbies? Okay, okay, that's a nice question. I think, as with everyone learning 3D, my main thing was learning the softwares, like learning the proper techniques, the proper pipelines, the proper workflows. That was a great challenge when I was learning 3D, like making sure all of my steps were good. My main mistake when I was a young student was that I was very ambitious. I was always trying to do very ambitious projects. Like, I'm gonna show you, um, World of Warcraft. What was the name? Cataclysm. Desert concepts. So when I was a student, like this, I'm talking about, like, literally, I only had like 2 months of experience, and my, like, what I wanted to do for my final project was one of these guys, and I wanted to like model him, rig him, animate him, render him. I wanted him to step on the sand, and for each footstep on the sand to leave an imprint. Like, I was crazy. My teachers were like, yeah, yeah, go ahead, try and do it. It's fine. But I was crazy. I was trying to do something that was way, way beyond my skill at that point. So I think that's one of the main mistakes that a lot of people do. Like, they try to go for super, super complicated stuff when it's not necessary. So for instance, let's say you're learning ZBrush and you want to do a dragon, right? Like, everyone wants to do a dragon at ZBrush, like, at some point. I also tried doing a dragon in ZBrush, by the way. The problem is, if you're just learning ZBrush, getting to like this point when you're just a beginner, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. It is gonna be difficult because it's a lot of things that you need to take into in consideration. However, doing a frog, like a really cool frog, might not be that difficult. Okay, so try to grab projects or try to pick projects that showcase that you know your stuff, that you know the tool, that you can like be very proud of because you can do some very cool stuff with it, but also that will make sure that you don't fail. Like, don't set yourself up for failure, right? Because again, when you're just starting, it's very difficult to do this super amazing artwork because you're still learning. Okay, so that would be my advice. Grab things that are cool, but that are within your skill level. Always a little bit above your skill level, right? So that you can learn and improve. Like, don't go for something simple. Like, if someone says, yeah, for my ZBrush class, I'm gonna do like a skull. Everyone does a skull, right? Like, no, you can do something better than a skull. Everyone does a skull. But like doing a frog, I don't think a frog is it's that bad. It's a good project, and you can create some very cool stuff with it, right? So yeah, that would be my advice. Let's see. How many years have you been doing this job? 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. I started on 2011, and it's 2021, a little bit more than 10 years. I was actually studying for medicine. I was gonna become a doctor. That was my dream at 10 years ago, but nope, I became a 3D artist. So yeah. How long does it take for you to learn Blender? You can learn Blender in a weekend, at least the basics. I was mentioning, you guys know the Blender Guru. He's a super cool dude here in YouTube, has a lot of content. You can take the Donut course and learn the basics of Blender in literally like a weekend. But to like really, really learn Blender and stuff, I would say at least 6 months. Same with Maya, same with ZBrush. Like, you need to spend a lot of time making sure that you understand, because it's not the same thing to follow a tutorial and do a donut than for someone to say, hey, I need you to model, I don't know, like a an old wooden door, right, inside the Blender. You have to find a way to do it. How long does it take for you to learn? Okay, no. Ricardo asks, do you have any plan B in case this 3D thing ends? I don't think this 3D thing is gonna end. However, yes, my backup plan if 3D fails, or I don't know, if we go back to the Dark Ages, is traditional art, like traditional sculpture, traditional painting, traditional drawing. I am proficient at those skills, and that's something that I would either teach or do myself to create my own like sculpture gallery or something. So yeah, but art is something that I would like to do all my life. For how much time did you attend your school? So initially, I took a 3-month intensive course here in Mexico, which was really intensive because we were from like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for 3 months, and it was quite intensive. That was my first like big 3D experience. After that, I did a little bit of work. I kept saving, and then I went to Los Angeles to Nauman School of Visual Effects for 3 years. I took 3 years of studies over there, and well, countless tutorials and research in YouTube and everything as well, right? Like literally the moment I stopped or like I finished, I graduated Nauman, I was already learning new stuff in YouTube and books and tutorials because you never stop learning in this career. So yeah. Heartbreak says, "Sir, do you have any NFTs you made or bought, and what is your opinion on them?" I'm gonna keep it short because I think that's a very controversial. Well, not controversial, but it's still in its infancy. I think the idea is cool. I haven't done any NFT. I don't think people are using it the way it was originally intended to be used. So I don't personally believe in like owning a piece, which is as far as I believe a link pointing you towards a JPEG or a PNG or whatever. However, I do see the potential. Like, I know there's going to be something important in the coming years about having a digital register of owning something on the virtual world. I know that's important. I don't think it will be with NFTs or with images themselves, but something will come eventually. So, yeah. Singe says, I have currently completed my diploma and preparing my showreel. I'm doing hard surface stuff, but I'm a bit inclined more towards character creation. Not now, but after a month or two, when I get into the industry as a junior hard surface artist, I should polish it more or learn character art in spare time. Or maybe both, because of the competition I was pursuing more with hard surface. Okay, so I think we've mentioned this one. There's more competition in the character world. I do think it's a little bit more satisfaction, or there's more satisfaction because they are the main thing of games and movies and everything. If you can get a character position, go for it and just keep building from there if that's what you want to do. If you can't, but you can get a hard surface, do hard surface to earn a living or to make a living, and then do characters on your own, like for fun. Keep building your portfolio, and eventually there will be an opportunity for you to jump and become a character artist. So you should always look at your current situation because not everyone can afford to be without a job or without money. So if you can't find a job as a character artist, but you can find a job as a 3D modeler, go for the job and keep working as a character artist on the sideline so that you can get that dream job that you want to get. Let's see, what is a good tip to model characters in Maya? My best tip to modeling characters in Maya is do not model characters in Maya. No one really models characters in Maya anymore, unless they're like really, really simple characters. So, for instance, if you're doing this sort of stuff, then yeah, like Maya is perfect for this sort of stuff. Like this sort of stuff, yeah, Maya is perfect for this sort of stuff. Even this sort of stuff, it's fine. You need to know a little bit about topology, but yeah. If you want to do like proper characters, like Gears of War, Halo, like this sort of stuff, ZBrush. You need to do ZBrush and retopologize because it's just way easier. It's just way easier. It's just way faster. Can you do it in Maya? Yes, of course, but it's just about suffering. So for this kind of stuff, it's better to do it in ZBrush, to be honest. Goku, in Maya, when I do bevel and edge, sometimes it doesn't bevel, and then I try it again and again, and later see a lot of edges. Any suggestion? Yes, that could be the scale. Sometimes when you're working in Maya and the scale is really small, like really small, and you try to bevel, sometimes it won't work, or you will hit like the like most intense amount very quickly. So make sure you're working real scale would be my first suggestion, like big scale. so it's easier for the tools to work properly. And sometimes there's a little bit of a bug with like display, something that's Maya. Try resetting Maya and see if that's a problem, because you should always be able to bevel, and even if you don't see any fraction, you should be able to move it and see the fraction. Always check your history here on your inputs to see how many like elements have you added. So if you have like 7 bevels, you know that you are adding more bevels than you need. Okay. Andy, hey Abraham, I'm new to texturing. I'm currently using Marmoset 4. My question is, can you watch Substance Painter tutorials when working with texturing with Marmoset, or are they too different? No, they are quite different because the tools are different. Like it's just the way they're done. The certain concepts like the dirt concept, the metal edge work concept, and stuff like that, you could probably extrapolate to the other thing, but most of it it's just not compatible. So yeah, if you're just doing it in Marmoset, I recommend watching specifically Marmoset tutorial texturings, Marmoset texturing tutorials. Singh says, how do you stay motivated and what is your daily routine for high productive and how you improve your knowledge? Well, it's a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. Some days you're really tired and you just don't want to work or just want to get it over with. My brother, he's really fit. He does gym a lot and he's like really strong, and he says, and I think it's the same for 3D. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. So you have to do it every single day. You have to wake up, come to work, and do your job. It's more about like being motivated helps a lot. Having good music, like nice drink, or a little bit of a snack always helps. Having a game, looking forward to playing or something. Like having little goals is always good, but you need to be disciplined. My daily routine, I am here at the studio at 9 a.m. I teach usually in the mornings, and then I go to eat at my house, come back, and then during the afternoons I record the videos for you guys. I watch tutorials to learn new stuff. Sometimes at night when the baby is sleeping, my wife is sleeping or watching TV, I would get my tablet and I would have my headphones and just learn more stuff, because I love learning. So it's a little bit easier for me. There you go. How much difference between stylized and realistic 3D prop art? It is quite a bit of a difference, Kumar. So it is quite a bit of a difference. You don't need to know both. It is helpful though, especially if you're in a studio that has like different projects and they're gonna need you to jump from one project to another, and the projects are different in style. It is helpful to know a little bit about both of them. However, it's not necessary. Pick the one that you like the most and focus on that one. I see everyone talking about Blender. Is it worth to switch from 3ds Max to Blender? No, I don't think it's worth to switch from anything to Blender, but I do think it's worth to learn Blender. So use it as a support software, because there are certain things that Blender can do that are really powerful, and if you can combine them, because most of the things can be exported from one software to another, it's really helpful. So if you're already proficient with 3ds Studio Max, keep it. It's the same for me with Maya, right? I'm not gonna like just forget about Maya, but learn Blender if you can, because it is gonna become a very important tool. It is becoming a very important tool in the industry, so it's not harmful for you to know it, because a lot more people are gonna be knowing it in the next couple of years. So you need to be able to speak that language as well. It says, in your screen, the details of the model, how... Oh, easy. Here on Windows, no, sorry, display, heads-up display, and it's this one called poly count. So again, display, heads-up display. There's a lot of things that you can turn on here on the heads-up display. Personally, I like having poly count, which is the information about vertices, edges, faces, triangles, and everything. And I like this one as well, which is called object details, which lets me know how far away the object is from the camera, for instance, if it's an instance, if it's smooth, if it has back faces, stuff like that. So very handy. ZBrush can use both Boolean and dynamic sub. Is there any way to do it in Maya? No. Unfortunately, no. Booleans inside of Maya suck. They're the most horrible Booleans you're ever gonna find. So, no, you cannot use both in Maya, unfortunately. Why Blender is not used in big studios? Is there any chance that Blender will become part of big projects sooner? Yes, and I think one of the reasons why it's not used in big studios is because big studios have been using Maya or their own versions of Maya, because they kind of like optimize and build a lot of tools on top of it. That's very difficult to just make the switch to Blender. But I think more and more projects are gonna eventually jump into Blender because it's gonna be a lot more, even for like big studios, it's gonna be a lot more affordable to have, because you don't need licenses, right? So everyone can be using Blender and you don't need to pay a license. So yes, it will be more prominent, especially in the indie level. I think in the indie level we're gonna have a lot of more news. I heard technical artists like Houdini artists and procedural environment artists are high in demand. Yes, Houdini is a very powerful tool. It's a whole different language. I have no experience in Houdini, so I wouldn't be able to give you an informed opinion, but it is one of those things that it's really helpful. So if you guys are interested in those sort of things, like explosions and procedural things and stuff, Houdini is the way to go. Goku, can you explain UV unwrap in Maya in the easiest way? I won't be able to do it today because we're running out of time. As I mentioned, it's getting a little bit late. But let's see. Let's do this next week when we come back with our videos. I'm gonna have one special video dedicated to you, which is gonna be about like the basics of UV unwrapping, like my technique, the technique that I use, and why it is important. Okay. So I'm already noted here on my little note so that we have. Yeah, everyone started asking questions because they know our time is up. How old are you? I'm 29 years old. I'm 29 years old. My birthday was on August 30th, so I'm 29. You're welcome. Seeing. Yes, we will create our Discord server. We're working on all that stuff, so just stay tuned. Yeah, usually a hard surface modeler will do anything. So you might be doing a gun, you might be doing a car, you might be doing a fan, you might be doing a microphone, camera, sometimes even just like a wall or a desk. So you're usually not gonna find like, I mean, there are some studios that have like hard surface modeler, but it's more like a modeler. Like you need to model everything. So you need to be good at modeling everything. How we save our custom UI from ZBrush or from Maya? From ZBrush, it's over here. You're gonna go into preferences, config, and then save UI. And this little file that you save, that's the one that you're gonna be loading in other computers. Maya, I actually don't know. That's a great thing. I think it's this one right here on the workspace. I think you can save this current workspace as, and then import the workspace. Probably. I haven't done it because I don't really custom Maya that much. Yes, I can do another video on portfolio for hard surface. I think we need to talk about wireframes for that one. What effects software do you suggest to learn or know the basics? If by effects you mean explosions and stuff, then definitely Houdini. Houdini is the best on that one, I think. Cool. So yes, guys, I think this is it. We're a little bit over an hour and a half. So if you guys were here late and you want to catch up on the earlier things that we were talking about, make sure to check the stream, which I think is going to be available soon. And if you want to catch our next live stream, is going to be tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Mexico time. Okay, so 12:30 p.m. Mexico time is going to be really late for you guys over there at India. If you want to catch a late live stream, then you're welcome to. For those of you that are not in India and are in the Americas, it might be a little bit more accessible. And yeah, make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. And thank you guys very much for being part of this channel, for being part of this community. If I don't see you again, I wish you a very, very, very happy new year. I wish that all of your projects, all of your wishes come true, and that you can enjoy a very nice happy new year with all of your family. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye bye.